Hello One Piece enthusiast, I am the One Piece nerd back with another video. Today, let us talk about Luffy's bounty. So, as of chapter 1053, Luffy's new bounty is revealed. He is now an Emperor of the Sea, and his bounty is whopping 3 billion berries. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is very high, but for Luffy's accomplishments, I feel like it's, underachieving the amount of feats he's pulled over Wano and Whole Cake Island. That aside, let's talk about my overall feelings towards the bounty. Okay, I like the numbering thing. I like how Lockheed Luffy has a total of 9 billion, whereas Big Mom Kaido together had 9, a little less than 9. I think 100 million less than 9 billion, and well, it's a very good play by Oda with the number schemes. For Law and Kid, it was very well deserved. I'm not going to go into in-depth details, but for Law and Kid to go from 500 million-ish to 3 billion is a huge achievement. In fact, Kid's bounty increase is one of the most significant and probably the most increase in bounty we've seen so far in the series. Great accomplishment. They took down an emperor, they deserve it. Props. Both of them took down Big Mom. Both of them together have a bounty equal to Big Mom. Now, why is Luffy's bounty so low considering he's taking down Kaido? The first speculation we had was because the world government thought that 3 of them together versus 2 of the emperors, it's basically a 3 versus 2. What the world government doesn't know is about Luffy soloing Kaido at the end. Granted, he's got a little bit of assistance from everyone, but at the end of the day, the person that Kaido has taken the most damage from is Luffy. Luffy's the one who officially defeated Kaido with no additional help whatsoever. It was Luffy 1-on-1 for 2 rounds straight, and that's how Luffy won. Now, the whole thing about the world governments, let us now talk about the source of information for the world government. As last, I think it was 1052, where Apu said, I am the snitch, I leaked the information to those CP0 agents. And somehow the CP0 agents and Big News Morgans are somehow related. Now, I am not exactly sure where the bounties come from. I'm quite sure it comes from the world government, but the whole emperor picture and names and everything, I think Big News can change it up. It all comes down to the control and the hierarchy. Number 1, I don't think Big News is, in charge of the bounties themselves. He's not in charge of pretty much anything, but he has the liberty to change the picture, the name, and whatever he feels to do. Just like the Gorosei said last chapter, they didn't want the D in Luffy's name, presumably Luffy's name, and didn't want that picture of Luffy that CP0 guy has taken. So what that means is Big News Morgans has some sort of a connection with CP0. It's a hint. I'm not saying it happened, but it's definitely a hint. They are definitely sort of connected. That is also very weird coming from CP0, who is very loyal, or probably the most loyal subject of the world government. That aside, let's talk about, bounties. So the bounties were definitely delegated by the world government, the Gorosei themselves, perhaps. So if the Gorosei did actually, provide the bounties, I don't think they have the whole scope. Because remember, the CP0 guy I don't remember his name. It's a very complex name. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to call him the CP0 guy because he's the only remaining survivor of the CP0 agent in Onigashima. Anyways, so the CP0 guy basically talked with Big News Morgans, contacted him somehow, got the pictures and the name. Although the world government said the D shouldn't be there, he did it. The picture also depicted Sun God Nika, which the world government definitely didn't want. But the bounties are definitely from the world government, or else they would have probably complained about the numbers as well. Which means the only authority that Big News Morgan decided not to take to himself is the number. And the dead or alive thing, because that is very serious. So what does that mean? The Gorosei doesn't have the full picture. CP0 told everything to probably both the world government and Big News. But hey, just to say that, the world government didn't actually get the entire picture. Or somehow some information wasn't supposedly leaked, or perhaps the CP0 agent decided not to tell them the whole information because it wasn't completely necessary. Bottom line of the story was there was an alliance between the three pirates, Law, Kid, and Luffy, and three of their crews, and they've taken down Big Mom and Kaido. Done. 3v2, that's how ratios go, no complicating matters. Now, that aside, even if Luffy was considered taking down Emperor's got 3 billion, he is still a very big source of, influence or a bad hindrance for the world government, considering what he's done so far. Him being Sun God Nika, allying himself with Dressrosa, Wano, Zou, Fishman Island, being an Emperor of the Sea, okay, I understand. His influences granted Luffy the title of Emperor over Law and Kid. Luffy is still one hand above Law and Kid. That is just proven outright. In terms of bounties, they're equal. They're still competitors fighting for One Piece, or, looking for the One Piece, but Luffy is still one step ahead of them when it comes to being an Emperor. But that doesn't prove enough. That is not, reason enough why Luffy would get a 3 billion bounty. Because of Luffy being Joy Boy Nika. Because of him being Joy Boy Nika, him proving to be a threat, he is a D, and all that. In all that accordance, that is exactly how I decided. That is exactly how I thought that, Luffy was gonna get a bounty of somewhere around 4.5 to 5 billion, or perhaps even 5.6. This just goes to show that the world government, wants that information blocked. They don't want the world to know he's Joy Boy Nika. Luffy, the world knows, the world will eventually know, no matter how much you try to press the news. There will always be like people like Big News Morgans who spread the news across the world in a span of 14-15 hours, and the rest of the world would know about Kaido and Big Mom's defeat. If you were to include Luffy's bounty above 3 billion, or perhaps a little bit more than that, that is a little suspicious. When you know the three pirates have joined the alliance and, fought together against Big Mom and Kaido, they're getting equal bounty, raises no suspicion that they've done nothing more than this. The world government wants to keep it hidden that Luffy is Joy Boy Nika, and the fact that, he's going to be the warrior of liberation, and some people will actually look up to him. A lot of nations, it's a myth. Joy Boy Nika, Sun God Nika, Joy Boy, or whatever you call it, is a myth amongst the people who were enslaved. And that doesn't mean that only people in slavery know about Joy Boy or Sun God Nika, but a lot of people in the outside world, in the whole entire world of One Piece, perhaps have heard myths of Sun God Nika. They've heard some rendition or some interpretation that somehow relates to that. And if Luffy is actually that would cause a huge problem for the world government. They have already too much to take care of with the revolutionaries, the Shichibukai, and whatnot, balance of power, yada yada. They have a lot on their table, and this would just increase their problems. Now, that is the only justifiable reason I have found for which the world government would decide to put Luffy's bounty not so high. It's equal to the other two. From a narrative perspective, why Oda decided to do this, it's very simple, maybe. At first glance, you'd think, okay, this is it. We're about to enter the final saga. It's probably gonna be the last bounty, and we gotta get at something very whoppingly high. Granted, this is pretty high. It's above Blackbeard, but Blackbeard is a very different story. He's just a little bit lower than Shanks. And narratively, that sort of makes sense. He's now entered the Yonko territory, he's now officially an emperor. Granted, well, If you remember, Fifth Emperor wasn't official. It was just Morgans playing around, just as usual. But this time it's definitely from the world government, because they didn't seem to complain. They've recognized Luffy as an emperor, and so he has taken the place, and Oda just wanted to give us a bounty, feasible for an emperor. That's been done. And we haven't seen Blackbeard's bounty yet, but who knows? Could be more than Luffy's. Point is, I think the last bounty, the final bounty that Luffy's about to get, could be 5.6. Could be even higher. Could be nothing at all. Could be this only. But there's yet one more bounty to be revealed after Luffy finds One Piece, and the Marines consider him the most wanted man in the world, aside from Dragon, just the way Roger had the place after he found One Piece. He became the most wanted pirate in the world after he found One Piece, and that's how he got his bounty of 5.5. And Luffy's about to get the same after he finds One Piece. From a narrative perspective, it makes sense. And as of the reasoning of the world government, this is the only justifiable reason I have. I'm still a little underwhelmed, but you guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, if you guys like and enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.